It has happened again everywhere scattered just a few hours ago as Bwala unleashed on Atiku, calling him a woman in a man's clothing. Can you imagine this? This kind of gbasgbos has become the order of the day. But wait, there's more. Tinubu himself couldn't believe his ears as Bwala couldn't hold back, explaining why he dragged Atiku to stupor. Adding to the drama, the so-called hope agenda Tinubu promise has been doing the exact opposite that has clearly gotten under Atiku's skin. Frustrated, Atiku lighted the match by going after Tinubu, sparking a heat exchange. This in turn pulled the trigger for Bwala to dive into the matter, causing serious wahala everywhere. My people, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Just stay tuned because I'll be breaking it all down in this episode. Don't go anywhere, and if you're watching us for the very first time, please like, comment, and share this video across all social media platforms. And also don't forget to click on the notification bell so you'll be the first to know when we drop another bombshell. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Welcome to Nigerian TV show.
The whole of crime scene
is happening in the street again.
The center of political news, celebrity gossip, religious gossip, and happiness in the society.
Join us, the voice of Africa.
Welcome back, my people. Tension erupted a few hours ago as Bwala took the stage to address the numerous and scandalous allegations being made against Tinubu. This is no small matter. The situation became even more heated when Atiku made a statement that triggered widespread reactions across the country. The current state of economic instability, poor governance, and political maladministration, Bwala claimed that all the allegations against Tinubu are baseless. According to him, Tinubu has done nothing wrong and has only been working to improve the economy. However, people could not hold back his frustration. He responded sharply, stating that Tinubu's administration has brought nothing but destruction and hardship to the nation. Atiku went further to articulate the struggles of Nigerians, pointing out the severe economic hardship people are facing. He emphasized how Tinubu's administration continues to impose policies that are irrelevant and detrimental to the masses. If we reflect, isn't this the same frustration that led Nnamdi Kanu to advocate for the separation of the state? The political jingoism, nepotism, and outright neglect of citizens have reached alarming levels. Nigeria is picking up, expressing their dissatisfaction with the current state of affairs. Many have complained about how difficult it has become to survive. Despite paying exorbitant prices for goods and services, the quality continues to decline. This has left people wondering how much more they can endure. Amid all this drama, Bwala made a significant blunder by inadvertently exposing Tinubu's hidden plans and secret. This sparked further outrage as journalist Seun Okinbaloye confronted Bwala during an interview, questioning him about these sensitive issues. Bwala was clearly uncomfortable and even went as far as likening Nigerian politics to a video game, describing it as chaotic and unserious. People seized the moment to intensify his criticism, accusing Tinubu's administration of making life unbearable for Nigerians. The level of hardship and cruelty being inflicted on the people is beyond comprehension. This situation has continued to separate intense discussion with everyone eager to see how it will unfold. My people, this is just the beginning of this story, so stay tuned. I will break down the full details of this drama in this episode. So if you're watching us for the very first time, don't forget to like, comment, and share this video across all your social media. Click the notification bell so you don't miss our next update. Let's watch this video. I'll be right back with more.
We know those who are sponsoring those things, but like I told you, I have made up my mind. I have refused to put fuel on a distraction, because you can imagine me talking about things that have nothing to do with the policy of the president now as his media aide. That means I am now discussing myself rather than discussing the president. So I leave them to their opinion. They can feed on it, they can build a house on it, but I am committed to focusing on what I am assigned to do, and I prepare to do that with all of my heart.
Before you get comfortable with the fluffy and the luxurious environment of the presidential villa, as an ordinary man, today is your first office. You probably had enjoyed the air conditioning in the
I had air conditioning in my office, in my house,
but that in my villa might be a bit different. That's the number one seat in the nation. It might feel different. Now, so the question before you get too carried away by the comfort of the office, and I like you to
people get carried away by that.
Hey, people get carried away.
Give me an example.
They forget if they pinch
an example of somebody that got carried away.
I mean, when I'm not discussing other people, I'm discussing
facts.
No,
that's conjecture.
That's not conjecture. I'm telling you that people get carried away by the position they hold. The question is that, are you aware about the plight of the average person in this country.
Acutely aware.
The sufferings of the Nigerian
Acutely
people.
aware.
How things have deteriorated in the past month. Are you aware?
Acutely aware.
Are you in tune with what the conditions of many Nigerians?
Let me tell you from my constituency, extended family members, for many months, calls for you to support. There are times where we can, we do, where we can, we keep, encouraging them. I am very, very aware, of the suffering of the Nigerian people.
And you think this president can fix things?
He is already fixing it.
But you think that he could not fix it even if you give him 30 years? That's what you said.
That's an answer.
So you don't think that the president... So why do you speak for a president that you think cannot do the job?
No, I just told you. You just asked, do I think he will do it? I say, yes, acutely aware, and I know he will do it.
But you have said that the president who can, even given 30 years, may not be able to fix it.
Asked and answered.
So you don't believe he can do it?
Asked and answered.
Why do you speak for him then?
I speak for him because, one, I believe in him, and from January when I met him, I committed to supporting his cause, and not just supporting, advocating for it. So not just that I believe him, I was busy, as I've always done, speaking to the Nigerian people. This is what the plan is. Look, a little while we will we'll have this cough, turn up the cough or whatever, the English nomenclature. But because if you look at it, look at even the numbers. Look at the National Bureau of Statistics. If you look at this inflation, both general inflation and food inflation, you will see sometimes when the inflation goes up, there is a reason for it. Like I told you the other time, if you look at the flood in Borno and Yobe, it affected the food crops of the people. The insecurity in North Central. You remember we just got out of the deeper problem in the Middle Belt. These are not spiritual things. They are fact. There is a cause, there is event. But look at the way we are coming out. You have even did your monologue. I remember one time you were talking about how states have become insolvent, bankrupt, and the rest. But ever since the president took up with the increased allocation arising from this revenue, we are not talking about bankruptcy of state. We are talking about governors should please do their best to administer to the people. That's a marked difference. Now, so we are not suggesting that everything has changed overnight. No, but what we are saying is that we are gradually coming out. You have asked me the last time I was here on Lee Kuan Yew's policy. Yes, when Lee Kuan Yew started, for anybody who cares to study, when Lee Kuan Yew started, at a point that as if they were going to stone him, it was completely terrible. But later, the people got out of the problem. There is no reform that changes overnight. Anybody, it's just like money making. You're into business. Somebody said tomorrow morning you will get it. It's a 419. But if you are going to build on trade, there is income, there is expenditure, there is investment, there is patience, there is seed time, there is harvest time. You keep pushing and push it. What federal government and the president's agenda is doing is, because even when you're implementing that, you must do intervention. And the president is doing that. We see in the area of transportation, we see in the provision of fertilizers and seedlings. We have also seen, in the private sector where they are, giving money to support, employment there so people don't go out of jobs. So you can see that everywhere, the effort in terms of the intervention, the president is doing it.
All of these facts that you're talking about, all of these facts you're talking about is because you have now moved closer to him. From a distance, you could not see this illumination.
Well, I've been saying that from January when I made a commitment to follow him.
Until when you've moved closer.
Let me give you this scenario. So I'm a born-again Christian. Before I became born again, I didn't want any preaching about God. I didn't believe in God. I wanted to live my life based on my intuition. When I gave my life to Christ and I made a decision to follow him, it became incumbent on me to study more of God and talk about more of God to the people. So when you translate it into politics, when you make a decision, this is what we talk about power of decision. If I decide that Shegun, I'm going to be your friend, that means I'm going to make effort to ensure that the relationship is strengthened. When I made a decision to support him from January, I have never had a day in which I wasn't actively working for him. And that buttressed the point. For all these years, 11 months I was working, was I talking about even appointment? You see, the president, they said, and now you can see evidence, that he knows how to identify talent. And when it comes to identification of talent, the president does not look at primordial sentiment. He's guided by his intuition. If you trust the president's decision making, you must trust his decision on who he works with.
No, one of the problems that has emanated here, which you would have had a golden opportunity to change the narrative, is there are those who believe that you are double-faced.
It's
that
their opinion.
Today you believe in something, tomorrow you believe. And you need to be able to convince them, because you'll be speaking for the number one citizen
I don't
in
need
the
to
country.
convince them.
You need to, because you are going to be convincing them about the philosophy, the ideology, and the performance of the Bola TINUBU government.
I don't
If you
need
are
to.
not believable, let me tell you, let me give you a bit of a schooling,
Go ahead.
Mr. Bwala.
No.
One of,
Hold
just
that. I'm
remember-
not a person.
just a moment. Listen.
No
listen.
schooling.
Just, you
No
need
schooling.
to. You need
No
to.
schooling.
You need to hear from the expert.
But
now,
I
the
object
question
to
is
this
that
concept of schooling.
the
I object to it.
just remember. Apologies if you feel offended.
No, not
but
at all.
it's not an offense anyway. But the question is that one of the first things to do is to have a personality that is believable before you can convince people to buy a product. So in public relations, that is very key.
Yeah.
Believability.
Yeah.
So the question is that how much of effort are you making to ensure that you are first believed before you can sell President TINUBU to the nation?
Let me answer. I have been believed by tremendous number of Nigerians. In fact, ever once the idea of the appointment was mulled, I have been inundated by calls, listen, even from Labour Party, who said they disagree with us on policy, they disagree, but they think that if this guy carry his gift to put it to work in Asiwaju's government, it will help. Belief is opinion of people. You don't have power to change it. What you have power to is to speak. The man who listens forms opinion. Let me ask you, do you think everybody believes in you? As a journalist, do you think all journalists believe in you? Has that deterred you from doing what you're doing? So this is where you separate between focus and distraction.
So you're focused.
100%.
So you're born again, Daniel Bwala.
Born again from where to where?
From Atiku to TINUBU.
I can't recall anything
After you
called
fought
born
it.
again from
Born again
politics.
meaning that you have moved from your old ways, and now you have seen the light.
Oh, that's what it means?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad for that.
I thought you said that.
That's the schooling.
I thought you,
That's the schooling.
That's another spiritual schooling that I'm giving you.
Oh, you're
You need
bringing it
pay
to politics,
me.
right?
Yeah, so you are a member of...
But I need to pay you. Are you one of those prophets that ask for offering?
No, I
you
don't.
said
I don't.
you just
I've
gave
given
a
you
schooling.
free
and you're asking
consultancy. I've given you free schooling, but yet you are not appreciating it.
No. You have been running around what we call going around the same circle. You know what they call roundabout. But because I have...
But you found a meaning to it in law, so you should understand better. So
Yes.
that works for you, isn't it? If you understand what we're trying to do here, is that I'm asking the same question in different ways. That you have an ideology and has changed. What has changed? That's the question.
Asked and answered.
All right, we'll take a break, everyone. But when we come back, my friend Daniel Bwala, who is not yielding into answering a question about his personality, maybe he'll be able to speak more about President Bola TINUBU and the TINUBU administration when we return from this break, everyone. Join us again. So much, everyone, for staying with us. Daniel Bwala, who's just assumed the position of the special advisor to the president on media and communications, has been speaking with us. Thank you so much indeed.
Thank you.
So your cabinet is a cabinet position that you have earned.
Oh, thank you. I don't know. I just know that I'm asked to do a thing and I'm doing it happily.
So you are going to be the boss to Bayo Onanuga.
No.
Who is leading the president's comms?
Bayo Onanuga is an elder statesman. He is a very brilliant journalist who has had his records, and we are happy he's leading us as a leader.
So he's a leader of President's comm.
I'm happy for him to lead. I've not been told, but I'm happy for him to lead because he's an elder and we respect him. And he has his own record. He has served Nigeria well. He has a proven record as a journalist. I mean, I can never be drawn into any situation where I will rub shoulder with the man. Yeah, I drove my car for him, yeah.
So your job is well cut out in your JD.
My own is, if you say, go and carry that table, I just go and do, that's my work. It's not about title. You know, look at Nigeria, Sean. Look at the president and look at the way he's focused on the job. Since he took the oath of office till today, has president ever had a press briefing in which he's fighting anybody? Or when he's reacting, or like somebody who doesn't have emotion? And you know the way the opposition, there's no name he has not been.
So what's the difference between your job and that of Bayo Onanuga?
I'm not here to define anybody's else's
But
role.
don't you know your own JD?
My role, I just told you, special advisor on media and public communication. Now, I don't know whether you have a problem with the media or with the public communication. You see what I'm doing here?
I don't have a problem with any. I'm just asking for
But you know what I'm doing now?
Clarifications.
But you know what I'm doing now? I'm doing my job. If you need clarification, you can ask Bayo or you can ask the administrative in Villa. I'm not looking at administration. I'm looking at executing the mandate of the president.
Let's talk about the president, Bola Tinubu. What did he tell you exactly to do for him? And I'm very sure that he knows that you are in tune with what is happening in the nation. What is his mind telling him? Because now officially you're speaking for him.
That's right.
As the president's spokesperson, what is the mindset? What does he want to achieve as the president of Nigeria?
He wants to achieve a legacy. What is the legacy? He wants to be a consequential president. That is, a president who came at a time when something has to be taken, even though it is unpopular. And when you take that step, there will be insult, there will be problem, and nobody even knows what will happen later because it's still like an uncharted territory. Remember Buhari when he wanted to do it? The National Assembly, then leadership went to him and then he pushed it to a later day. Jonathan wanted to do, all of them wanted to do it before. Great statement. But they saw the danger because if you implement that, we are not a manufacturing country. So there's going to be a problem. Our reliance is on oil. There are quite a number of dynamics. So my understanding of the mindset of President Tinubu, one is to get us out of this quagmire. And he has brilliantly stated out his policy directive, and the implementation has started already. He's been commended by even international body on economics, local people on economics. But the poor man on the street, because he doesn't know the dynamics or economics.
But the global bodies that you talked about, recently IMF has said that some of this policy is not working. This is just a few days ago.
So let me tell you,
it's not bearing fruit yet.
But what did they say? In the same statement, I suggest whoever is talking to go and study, they said the policy at least requires how many? 15 years or more. Yeah, it is not going to be overnight. Let me give you an example, Mr. Seun. Probably you are in a house, a battered house, and rain fell, there's a crack, the house is about to get destroyed. And you now feel it, when it gets destroyed, when it falls out, when it collapses, it will kill everybody. Then you decided we have to take some measures. We're going to move out of this house. We're going to have a makeshift house, and then we're going to construct a new house. For the period that you're going to be in the makeshift house, you may not be enjoying that AC in that house. You may not be enjoying certain privilege you've been enjoying in that house. But you cannot even continue in that house because the walls are collapsing. But you needed to take that decision. The entire period of the movement from there to here so you can have a good house will create a lot of inconveniences. Now, the IMF, something you say, I studied a bit about their policy. That is what is called strong country ownership. And in the practice of law, which you must know, for every general rule, there is an exception. Now, strong country ownership is an exception to the rule in IMF. And what that means is that at every given time, you are permitted, even in implementing that, to tinker with certain policies to meet with your local demands. Now, so how you tinker with policies in Nigeria might be different from Rwanda, might be different from Kenya, depending on the dynamics, the demography, the economy, the circumstances. All of these things are things we are navigating. The good thing is our worst days are behind us, Seun. Our worst days are behind us.
And Nigerians are hoping that not only for the decision makers who think that they are turning the curve in what they seem as the dark days of how the policies are panning out, but also for the fact that Nigerians who are unable to feed are able to feed now or later in the year or as soon as possible. But the question is the perception, some of the issues are around the president. For example, there are stories about the CIA and how the president is being seen or perceived in some climes or in some places. Does that concern the president, how he's perceived in some climes? And some of which you have also criticized. You've been critical about the president and his past. For those who are, I'm careful about social media conversations because not everything you can take on. But the question is that as the spinner and as a public relations person for the president, how do you explain some of this perception about the man you speak for?
So I have a thing or two in terms of experience on intelligence. I have offered consultancy service to intelligence platforms. I have also consulted for the United States Institute of Peace. When it comes to intelligence and counterintelligence and foreign intelligence, it is a game of the mind. It's a game of mastery. Sometimes that also is reflected in those mediums by which the perception of the public is managed, such as creating a narrative, dropping a narrative, sparking a narrative, pointing a pointer, all kinds of things. Now, the thing about CIA is that whenever a perception is going to be created by those who mastermind it, they can say anything. Sheun, I can look at you. I know you have international connection with international journalists and organizations in journalism. There are some people in the international journalism realm that acts as agent of foreign government. But does that make you an agent of foreign government? No. In this our Borno, most of these NGOs you see that go there, say they are doing NGO, they are being funded by this. Some of them are primary collectors of intelligence for foreign government. But does that mean every NGO is bad? So that thing is a created distraction to give the okay, if you said the president is an agent of the NIA, has the president not taken decision?
They said of the CIA, not the NIA.
Sorry?
They said of the CIA, not of the NIA.
The CIA, sorry. Has he not taken decision that the American government didn't favor at the beginning? You remember when that American citizen was arrested? You remember that American citizen? They made a request for him to be released, he refused. If you're an agent of CIA, you turn him over. You see, in Africa, we must open our eyes.
But the president has yielded to the call of the United States in releasing the man that was in custody.
After how many years in custody, and you don't know what the government of Nigeria may have extracted from him in terms of intelligence that is useful to Nigeria. When you don't suck the orange, finish.
The reason why I'm asking you this question is whether or not the interest of Nigerians is number one, as against the interest of foreign Brethren Woods institutions of foreign nations, and thinking that maybe the president is interested in serving those interests. First and foremost, they say the president is yielding to the call of IMF and the World Bank and the Brethren Woods institutions. Now they're saying that the president has the interest, allegedly has the interest of other nations above the interests of Nigeria. And you speak for him.
That is,
how do you defend that?
I don't believe in what they said, and I know what narrative and counter narrative it is and what they try to achieve. But the president has demonstrated in leadership through his decisions and policies that the national interest of Nigeria is uppermost in his mind. National interest is national security, right? But then there is what we call international diplomacy, and there's what we call cooperation along shared values. So if, for example, we have a shared value in the area of deepening democracy between Nigeria and the United States. So we have an area of interest. Both of us are interested. Every of these counterparts will leverage on what they have advantage over to also ask for what they can get. It's called international cooperation on the basis of a shared value or shared interest. We might be interested in something that is not already here. So, and America does that. You understand? If you see them in Ukraine, for example, will you say Zelensky is controlling Biden? See the kind of money that Biden keeps sending there? But Zelensky's sustenance protects the interests of not just America, but NATO.
So the question is, how is the presidency able to clear the name of the president based on president's past and some emerging information, such that the belief and the trust of the Nigerian people are upheld in the man that is leading them, that it does not have the interests of other nations above the interests of Nigeria?
A lot of Nigerians have their deepest trust in the president. A lot of Nigerians
But the presidency has not officially come to dismantle whatever those emerging information from those countries.
This is my understanding of response and counter response. If your eye is on the ball, you have to be careful about how you get distracted in responding to trivial things. You only respond to what is necessary for the purposes of responding. Because distraction is anything. It can be in 1 minute that takes your mind off of the focus. And then before you know, the narrative now becomes not what you are trying to do, but what people are saying.
What does
President Bola Ahmed TINUBU need, or the president need to do to tell the Nigerians that the president is not a CIA agent? I mean, it's a gibberish kind of talk. Even the Nigerian people know. It is those people who are spinning that, you understand, that are pushing that.
What is President TINUBU's main agenda in Brazil? What does he hope to achieve?
Good. So the COP29 is a focus, coming out of the resolution that they made, is a focus on what they call international reform in governance. And now the focus, because every time they meet, there is a focus. So this year, the focus is around one, poverty, hunger, and then climate change. These three things that they are mentioning, have you not been seeing the president implementing it in Nigeria? So he's on course. Now, going there is to deepening on that, but then to push further the argument for a permanent seat for Africa, because Africa is an uninvited member of the G20. So the focus of the president is to go and engage in the processes that will lead to dealing with hunger, dealing with poverty. If you bring it to Nigeria, you see some of the agricultural policy that is geared towards that. With respect to climate change, of course, you know how the president is introducing CNG boards. There's lots of policies that are geared towards that. So
but what about
this is what the president has achieved.
What about a seat at the table?
That is what is advocating
Nigeria, although we are faltering in terms of, in economy-wise, our GDP has dropped from about first and second to the number 4 on GDP economy size on the continent. And in asking for a seat and being a leader on the continent, you must be able to also show cause why you need to lead the continent on the global stage. What is President Tinubu telling the world leaders about Nigeria as a country leading the continent on the global stage?
President Tinubu is telling the world leaders that Nigeria is gladly has adopted and is implementing some of the policies that is being canvassed by international bodies and countries ahead of what COP29 is looking at, which is dealing with hunger, like I talked about. Ahead of that, the president is a leader in our West African sub-region, of course, which you know. And number 3, being the largest black population and I think second largest economy in Africa, we have a say. Fourth largest economy in Africa, we have a say. And then we have what they call a population of Nigeria around the world that are productive. What they are trying to do in Nigeria is to convert that of the Nigerian people. If you go to America, just in the last 3 months, America, UK, and the rest, we see people coming out, judges, these, and now the next Prime Minister of England is going to be a Nigerian. So Nigeria is not something you can look and turn your back from. Nigeria plays a pivotal role, and the president is representing that agenda.
It's a huge thing for the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, to visit Nigeria. But what would you say is the greatest benefit from that conversation?
Good. If you remember, when the leadership of that COP29 was given to India, he held it for that period. What was his major role? He really advocated for African continent. He really advocated. That's number 1. Then number 2, Indian population and Indian business interests in Nigeria far outweighed every other business interest. Then you look at the population of Indians in Nigeria, and then you look at our shared value in the area of healthcare, in the area of agriculture, and the rest. So having fought, tenaciously for the African continent, and now gladly we're a part of G20, he has now come to deepen that relationship. He's coming to Africa, and the first place to come is Nigeria. And the last time an Indian Prime Minister came to Nigeria was when? A long time ago. This is one of the biggest, and the reason he could come is because President Bola Ahmed TINUBU represents the courage for change.
So what's the biggest takeaway from that? Did they agree on anything? Is India putting some funds? Are there understanding and agreement in terms of trade and commerce for Nigeria?
Now, when the details are farmed out, it is going to be published, right? But if you are saying what is the benefit of his visit, of course, the Indian community have committed, especially those who are in industry, those are in businesses, to bring increased funds to deepen their business interests in Nigeria. And they could not have been doing it if they are not making profit.
We need to close in 30 seconds. And it's about Obasanjo. Sunday Dare, your colleague, has come out heavily attacking former president because he says that there are deep-rooted corruption issues in this government. But they've said that Obasanjo led a messy government.
Is it in doubt?
Is that the position of this government?
When President Obama, I don't subscribe to attacking an elder statesman, and that is not what Sunday Dare did. So kudos to Sunday Dare. Sunday Dare did what we call stating the facts for the record, so that the Nigerian people can judge. You see, when you come to say, better if you have not held anything, but when you have governed before and you say this country is corrupt, you have, this leader is corrupt, you have to be sure that when you govern, there was this. Most of these corruption-related things in all fabrics of the society started.
Welcome back, my people. As you can see that we've had enough of the excuses, the propaganda, and the outright neglect the government has shown to Nigerians. It is infuriating to see Bwala trying to defend Tinubu's administration, while ordinary citizens are left to fend for themselves in this hard economy. This is not about politics. This is about survival, and we are being failed at every turn. How can anyone defend Tinubu when Nigerians are struggling daily to put food on the table? Inflation is choking us. Basic goods are now luxuries. They promise to ease our suffering by removing import duties on essential items, yet here we are worse off than before. Transportation costs are through the roof. Food prices are unthinkable, and let's not even talk about fuel. Where is the relief they promise us? Bwala says Tinubu is working hard to fix the economy. I asked, what economy? The one where businesses are closing down because they can't afford fuel or imported goods, or the one where youth unemployment is skyrocketing because there are no viable industries to absorb them? Nigerians are not blind. We see through the lies and failed promises. And then there's the issue of governance. This administration keeps blaming past government for our current woes, yet they've had months to show us their so-called solution. What have we gotten in return? Policies that benefit only the elite while leaving the masses in despair. Even the much-hyped CNG policies has proven to be another empty promises. Let's not forget the political marginalization and nepotism that Nnamdi Kanu and others have been shouting about for years. These issues aren't new, but the administration seems determined to make them worse. Nigerians of all tribes and regions are feeling the weight of this injustice, and the calls for accountability are growing louder every day. The worst part, Bwala's defense fell apart when he let slip insider details that exposed the crack in this administration. Even seasoned journalists like Shehu Okebaloye are challenging him, and rightly so. The people deserve answers, not spin and deflection. This is a government that came to power on the promise of hope and change, yet they've only deepened our suffering. Nigerians are fed up. Enough is enough. If this government cannot deliver on its promises, then they should step aside and let those who truly care about the people take charge. My people, this is where I will be stopping on this episode. If you're watching us for the very first time, kindly like, comment, and share this video across all social media platforms. And also don't forget to click on the notification icon to get you notified of our next video. Stay tuned.